Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is I, Safe Grafke from the Dirt and Asphalt Podcast. As you can see, we are missing Alex Wanders right now. He had something come up, but he'll be on. But we want to get this interview with Doug Clark in, so let's do this thing. So again, welcome if you've never watched before. Again, I am Safe Grafke. I usually have another man sitting next to me. Like I just said, he had something come up, but we're going to have him back on here. In a little bit, Alex will be over. We have a lot of talk about from last night at the Southern Iowa Speedway, some other really cool things that are coming up for Dirt and Asphalt, and then again, we leave for Eldora next week, so we have a few things to remind you folks of what's going to be going on when we head out to Eldora. So real quick, I'm going to mute my mic. I'm going to call Doug, get him on the phone, and then we're just going to go from there. How's that sound to everyone? Let's do this. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, on the phone with me right now I have Doug Clark. He's been flagging at Knoxville for 37 seasons now. He's flagged for nearly 45 years. He is inducted into the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame. Let's welcome Doug Clark to the show. Doug, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. It's finally got some nice weather up here and stuff like that, so everything's going good.
Awesome. So, Doug, we just want to start out with your humble beginnings. So tell us how you got started. I know that you raced for a little bit, but then you got into flagging, so why don't you take us through that?
Well, I didn't really race. I just helped guys on race cars. The first guy I helped out was a guy from California by the name of Bill Hill from California, and then I was helping Doug Wolfgang for a little bit. We had a little modified or stock car here. Then I went to Gerald Dolly. I worked with him quite a while, and then back to Wolfgang for a while. But that's basically it. The real reason I got into flagging is I got tired of working on the race car because the guys were already crashing a bunch of stuff. And there was one week where we worked on the race cars every night just to keep racing for another weekend. And the guy at Hartford Speedway in South Dakota, he decided he was going to retire from Flagman and stuff, which his name was Dean Wiskus. And my friend Don Marquardt was a racer, and he was running Hartford Speedway at that time. And I said, Marquardt, give me a chance at it. And well, then there was another guy by the name of Larry Johns. He wanted to flag at it. So we was switching off every other week. I would flag, and then Larry flagged the other ones and stuff. And people realized, or whoever the promoters and stuff out to Hartford decided or noticed how interested I was in flagging and how I wanted to take the job and do the job and stuff like that. So that's my basically background on how I really got started on everything as far as flagging.
So how did it come to be that you'd be 37 seasons at the Knoxville Raceway? How did that come to be a thing?
Well, it's actually this is my 36th year down there.
Is it?
Flagging.
Okay.
This will make 40 years. After this year is done, it'll be 40 years of flagging, but I've been down Knoxville for 36. The way it came about is I was sitting at home one night, and that was after Knoxville had already gone through 2 or 3 flagmen, and Real Capitani called me up and said, Doug Clark? I said, yeah. This is Real Capitani from Knoxville Raceway, and wanted to know if you'd like to fly for us down here in Knoxville. Well, at that same time, Tom Savage and I were working on trying to get me into Jackson, Minnesota to flag over there. And I had to tell Cappy, I said, well, I just put an offer into another racetrack. I was wondering if I could get back to you in, maybe in a week or so. So he said, yep, that'll be fine. Just let us know. And I'm just kind of right now, as of today, I'm happy Jackson turned me down because that was a volunteer deal over there and stuff. But it's probably the best rejection I've ever had in my life, probably.
So, what was it like, at the beginnings to where it is now? What's the biggest things you've noticed changing in your position over these 36 seasons?
The big thing is, when I first started down there, down in Iowa and stuff, I didn't really know it at the time and stuff, but there was probably that first year or year and a half, whatever, racing down there. I thought my name started with an N, with the people in the grandstands and stuff, and now they all seem to, I don't know how I'm bragging or whatever, but they seem to respect the job that I do down there now. And now they call me by my name. And if you go to a lot of other racetracks, the drivers and a lot of the fans don't know you by name, don't know the flagman by name and stuff. And down in Knoxville, people will swing by or wave at me or say hi, Doug, or something like that when they're walking by even.
So who's the toughest person that you've ever had to black flag on one of the tracks that you've been at?
Whenever you bring the black flag up, they're all tough because you're going to get a shooter, you're going to get yelled at or get flipped off and stuff. So I've probably only waved the black flag probably about a dozen times out of my whole career. But it's just one of those type of deals where you go on to the next page and you let that go. So right. There's nobody really too tough. They're all the same. The black flags are black flags. That's
true. So, Doug, I know doing some research and talking to Mike Roberts especially, I know
trouble right there.
So I know at one point you had an opportunity almost arise where you almost went to NASCAR level.
I had my papers in there for the NASCAR truck. Well, at the time it was the NASCAR trucks or whatever it was. I put resumes together and all that kind of stuff. But at the real time that I was trying to get into NASCAR, I was trying to get into the NASCAR. Because I think, what was his name? Hero Kinder, I think his name was Flagman, and he was retired and stuff like that. So I had some professional people put resumes together for me, and I met Mike Hilton down at Kansas City Speedway back then and stuff, and told him, all about this stuff, and, all about the thing I was going through or wanted to do and stuff. And he said, well, send me a resume and send it to so-and-so. And, I never heard nothing back about it. But the pickup deal, the guy, from what I hear and stuff like that, the guy, he was going to retire, and I had my one foot in more or less in the door. Then he heard that somebody was trying to get a job or wanted a job. Well, then he decided he was going to keep flagging for a while more and stuff like that. So kind of kicked me to the curb type of deal.
So if you would have gotten that opportunity, would you have seen yourself staying there, or do you think you would have wanted to come back to Knoxville, back to the dirt world?
Well, at that time I didn't know how NASCAR was really operated. I didn't know, everything was controlled up top. Where at Knoxville, John McCoy and Gappy both, they let me, if I wanted to penalize somebody or something went wrong or the starts, I had control of it. Where NASCAR, they called everything up top and in their little booth up there, and the flagman just kind of down there waving the flag.
Sure.
So I'm happy to be back in Knoxville. I'm happy to be at Knoxville.
Yeah, we're happy to still have you there. So now that obviously this is your last year, correct?
Yeah, that's what they say. Justin keeps pushing it, so I guess I better retire. So he wants to do the 410s, and Ethan, I forgot his last name now, but the kid that's helping, he'll be helping Justin up there, and I'll be walking around the infield, or else I'll be sitting someplace drinking a beer.
So how's it going this year, training the new kid? What do you think? Are you excited to, have a new generation stepping in and wanting to step in, or is this going to be a hard one for you, leaving after?
No, it'll be hard for me personally, because I've been doing it, over half my life. But Justin and Ethan, they'll do good up there, and they both know how I, carried myself. I just wish they would critique themselves a little bit more, that type of deal. Justin, he's just kind of he's laid back type of guy, where I get into, I'm not scared to get in people's face and tell them what they did or whatever and stuff like that. So it's just one of those deals when I want the cars to fire up, for putting engine or heating their engines. I expect the guys to be moving and rolling the cars back, and they're pretty much good about it now and stuff. So it's just taking a little bit of time.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I love being down there when you start walking around telling them to get them all fired up, and when they don't listen, I mean, you're right there on the spot. I mean, it's just incredible to see how you're able to, do that, and I'm hoping that the next generation is going to be able to follow in your footsteps there.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like when we had the non-wing cars down there last week, and I when I talk at a driver's meeting, that I'm pretty much saying what's going to happen, how it's going to happen. And when I told those guys on the front row not to fire their cars up, and I'll come by and tell them when to fire the cars up. Well, then I get up there and there's like three of them running beforehand, and they got the heart of Doug Clark. So they two out of the three guys came up and apologized Saturday night to me about starting the cars too early and stuff. So it's just one of those deals. When I say something at a driver's meeting, that's kind of what I expect them to do.
So even though you're retiring, do you see yourself maybe still coming and trying to help in other ways, or are you just going to go to the wayside more or less?
Oh, that would be a question for John McCoy. I have that. If he needs some help or something down the infield or whatever, I can do it. If not, the Miller Lite cans are always cold in my trunk of my car. So
yeah, so
that's basically all up to John McCoy and the fair board.
So we're still going to see you at the track then?
Oh yeah, my camper's too expensive to sit down there and do nothing. So I don't have a truck to load back home. So
there you have it, folks. I mean,
I got to come down there.
Make sure you drink a beer with Doug Clark. Go find him and have a beer with him.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. We're gonna have thousands of people around you now. I hope you're ready for that.
I don't know about that, but I'm ready for it. I just hate usually when the Nationals get around, they just get to that time. I mean, it's only weeks away now, and that's usually a sign of the end of the racing season. But
So what?
After that, that'll be the end of my years.
So what are you going to do in your spare time now, Doug? If you're, obviously you won't be flagging at a lot of these events and tracks. So what are you going to do in your spare time?
Basically, I'll be making smokers. I got about 5 of them on the line going right now. Different types of smokers I got one that's got a 8-foot tank on it, and the firebox is 3 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot, and it's gonna take quite a bit of wood to fire that up, and you got to make a trailer for it and all that kind of stuff. It was 1,000-pound propane tank, and I cut it in half, and now I got half of it built already and stuff. So
that's a big grill, Doug.
and stuff. Yep, it's a smoker, it's not a grill.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know. Okay, I'm sorry. I have a Traeger, so I'm still in that.
Yeah.
Safe, you ought to know better than that then.
Sorry, Doug. This is my.
You could probably put about 10 of
Came in a
those
little late.
inside the
Made it from work. Duty calls.
So, Doug, my co-host is now alongside me, Alex Wanders, and I'm sure he's got a couple questions for you. So I'm going to let Alex go ahead and ask you a couple questions if you don't mind.
Hey, Doug, how's it?
My co-host.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Had to come in a little late.
That'll be trouble.
What do you mean? But, no, Doug, first of all, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I got a Miller Lite in my hand. Guys, and looking out the front door.
Yeah, I heard you say earlier you had pretty good weather up there, so you can't beat a Miller Lite in good weather.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I don't know if Safe got to it or not, but I was just curious, what do you do for a living, Doug? I've always kind of wondered.
Well, about, what was it, last, 10 or 12 years I was into powder coating. I had my own business, and then this tire company came in and bought all my equipment out. So I went to work for them for, 6 or 8 years, somewhere in that area. And then after they had me doing the stuff, and then they moved all the equipment up to someplace in Wisconsin. So I was old enough to retire, so I retired from there, and I was sitting at home watching soap operas and drinking beer. And then about 7.5 weeks later, they called me back up and asked me if I want to come back to work for them part-time and stuff. So now I work 4 days a week and just kind of set my own little hours there. I go to work at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm usually done about 12-ish.
Do you consider yourself a big race fan? When you're not flagging or you're not working, do you ever just?
I'm a very bad fan.
Very bad fan.
Bad fan. I don't like watching races. Because I criticize too much and stuff.
You're a participator. You're not a fan.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had to ask, Doug. I just walked in a little late. You know how work is. Sometimes you got to work late. You can't make it on time.
You do?
Yeah, well, I do.
You go in earlier, and then you don't have to work late. I can't do that.
Yeah, I'm not a very good morning person, though, Doug.
He's horrible, Doug.
Yeah.
So,
I get up at 3:30 every morning.
Oh my God, that's when I'm going to bed.
oh man.
Yeah, see, you're young though. So.
Yeah.
So Doug, what was it like for you when you got inducted into the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame? What was that moment like for you?
It was really neat. It really humbles you, and then you look at the people you got inducted with. Shirley Kears. I think Rick Purple came for her. And it was neat to see him. And I think I got inducted. I don't remember for sure. I think Dave Darling was it when I got inducted. There was a lot of neat people that I got inducted with and stuff, and it's quite the deal. They treat you pretty good and stuff like that. And so far, I've been to, since 2016, I've been to every banquet and stuff they had. And then the Friday night before the banquet, they have a little get-together up in the Hall of Fame building, and that's just a lot of fun and stuff.
So Doug, what's your, I know you flagged at Knoxville for several years now, and you've flagged all over the country. What, as a flagman or as an official, what is your proudest moment of your flagging career so far? What's the most fun thing that you've done and things like that?
The funnest thing I've done? Oh, wow, I can't really remember. I think, I don't know if you can hear this, but autographed a girl's chest once when I was nothing. I said, where do you want it at? She said, right on my chest. So I said, okay, here you go.
That does sound like a lot of fun.
Oh, bud. That's the great. Oh, man. So.
It was a trip.
I bet it was. So, I want to get back on something here, Doug. Obviously, you flagged all over 19 states. You've been at Knoxville for 36 seasons. Obviously, you see a lot of the accidents and things like that from up there. So, if you could make any safety changes, what would you make safety changes at for the tracks that these guys are running at?
Well, my main thing is I look at when I'm at a racetrack or watching them on Facebook or whatever. I look at the flag stand, and 3/4 of these flag stands, a lot of these race cars are flagmen, and they've been hit by debris or been had a close call on a crash, and they need to put some kind of like some kind of big steel beam or a big telephone pole or something. These guys don't realize when those cars are crashing up on there, that's a lot of impact, a lot of force on that steel. Mm-hmm. And just last week we had 3 or 4 cars, bounce off the bottom part of the flag stand in Knoxville. I've had them bounce off the front part of the flag stand when I'm getting ready to wave the red flag, and the front wheels right up on top of the flag stand by me and stuff. So it's the flagmen need to pay attention. Their life is in hands. They got the drivers' lives in their hands, and they have their own life in their hands on that flag stand. When they're up there on a little 2x2 square tubing, flag stand with nothing by them, and that's not very safe to me. That'd be my biggest priority I would worry about.
So, Doug, I know you and we've talked about this before. I talked to you last season about this, but I know that the track is, having officials starting to wear helmets now. What do you think about that?
I think that's the best thing that John McCoy and the Airport came up with, because now I can lean over I can look right at the race cars when they're coming at me, because I'm not getting all that dirt and all that dust up in my face and stuff. Before, people don't realize it's like getting sandblasted on that flag stand when you got the whole field coming at you, because it's all that little fine dirt that's coming at you. And when you can just sit there and still look at it and watch the cone or watch what what's going on behind the guys that took off, it just makes a lot of difference. That's the thing about me, and I don't know if I should say this out loud or not, but I have a hard time putting stuff back on. So once I get sweating in my helmet, I don't like taking it off. And usually by the national anthem time, I'm usually sweating, so I hope people accept that I wear my helmet during the national anthem. It's not because I'm disrespecting the flag. It's just that it's a pain in the butt for me to put it back on and get everything ready to go by the time the race cars are ready to push off. And John and everybody wants to get the show going, so that way I just keep mine on and I can direct what I want for the cars to do and things like that.
Doug, I'm kind of curious. You have any good stories about sending guys to the tail or sending guys back row for jumping the starts or things like that? Obviously, I'm sure.
Do I have any good stories?
Yeah.
You're just trying to get something started now.
I'm just curious.
Well, there's the best one, probably the best one that ever happened is, I don't know if it's during the Nationals or it had to be someplace close to the Nationals. Anyway, Tommy Estes was driving, I don't remember what car it was, but he was like third or fourth row from the back, whatever. He jumped on the start. So I put him to the back, and then we got the race going again, and then he jumped again, in the same restart. So he had to go to the infield. Then there was one time during the National, Mark Kinzer jumped, and I put him to the back, and everything went good and things. I thought everything went good, and then I was getting ready to drive my car down to turn forward, just kind of down there and BS with a couple of the pit guys or push truck guys and stuff. Well, then Justin, he was just a little kid. He was up in the grandstands. And he comes down to me and said, "Dad, what's wrong with the side of your car?" I said, "Nothing. Why?" But went around to the passenger side of the car and hear somebody had thrown brake fluid on it, and it took it right down to the bare metal, just like in 3 minutes worth of time and stuff. So
Wow.
That's probably the two highlight ones. The
Yeah.
biggest one that got me, noted for not really caring who drives the car is when '83 when Doug Wilkin and Sammy Swindell were on the front row.
Wow. So you definitely got a pretty stressful job, it sounds like. Do you get along with most of the guys over there at Knoxville? I mean, you're obviously...
I can't hear you that good. What?
Oh, do you get along pretty good with most of those guys over there at Knoxville? The competitors?
What, you mean the officials or the drivers?
Both.
I get along with the officials really great. I mean, everybody that works in that field, they're good guys to work with. And I think, not blowing my own horn or nothing, but I think all the racers, they all respect me. And I think a lot of the pit crew guys and car owners and stuff, they all respect me to where, they know when I say something that I'm serious about it.
So what is it like to flag the biggest sprint car race in the world, the Knoxville Nationals? Obviously, the pressure gets turned way up. Everybody's on pins and needles. You are, the officials, the competitors. What's it like to be a part of a prestigious event like the Knoxville Nationals?
That's a tough nut to crack. I mean, when I first started, my first 2 or 3 years, I don't know what was going on. I mean, I wouldn't worry so much about it. I went to the doctor 2 or 3 times and stuff like that. Just your nerves get all worked up, and at that time I thought something was wrong with my stomach. But here, the doctor just told me it was just nerves. And after the Nationals were over, then I settled back down. I come back to reality and stuff. But it's there's a whole lot of pressure there. I mean, people don't realize that. Well, I think I put probably about 90% of pressure on myself because I want things to go so good.
Yeah.
And, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I put a lot of pressure on myself.
What's your most memorable moment being a part of the Knoxville Nationals from your perspective?
You mean after the races or before or during the races?
Either one, Doug. It doesn't matter to me.
The best one was when Carl Kinzer, Jeff Swindell, I was on there, and a bunch of other people. The first time I ever rode on the bus back in the day, and they all wanted to see. When I first got on there, they all said, "Back to the bus, Clark, back to the bus, Clark." I said, "I ain't going to the back of the bus." Carl Kinzer was on there, and I think I had a bottle of wine in my hand, and I still have that on my uniform and stuff. And Carl Kinzer and Jeff Swindell, it was a good time. And I usually don't participate in that kind of stuff that, after the races.
Yeah.
Because I figure I don't want to, create no, favoritism, which I don't have favoritism. But I said, all right, let's do this. And then Cappy was on there. I don't remember if Cappy was on there or he told me to go do it and stuff. But it was a good time, yeah. It was good. How do they say it? Fun had style.
Well, now that you brought that up, I gotta know, and all the race fans gotta know, who's the biggest troublemaker after the races?
Who?
Yeah, who's the biggest trouble? Who is? I'm asking you.
I'm not a troublemaker.
No, I said who.
Who's the biggest troublemaker?
Oh, who's the biggest?
Yeah.
Oh, there isn't one.
Is it Roberts? Is it Mike Roberts?
There you go.
Yeah.
Him and Tony Paco.
Something tells me I could see that. I believe that.
See, they have the microphone so they can get anybody in trouble or whatever, and nobody can defend it or whatever.
That's true.
Nah, I'm just kidding. No, they're good guys to work with.
Well, Doug, we don't want to take any more of your evening or letting you, get back to your beer and your soap operas.
Oh no, soap operas are 11 to 12.
Oh, okay.
You need to get up, You're probably not even out of bed.
I am. I'm at work. Alex isn't. He's still sleeping.
Who told you that, Doug?
Okay.
Well, Doug, again, appreciate your time. It's been a blast. You've had a heck of a career so far. Just thank you again for coming on the show. We appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you throughout the rest of the year at Knoxville.
No problem there. I appreciate you guys recognizing me and stuff like that. So I thank everybody.
Hey, anytime. We'll make sure to bring some beer with us, and we'll throw a couple your way, okay?
I just ordered 5 cases, so.
Oh, well.
Just 5?
Yeah.
Good to go.
All right. We'll still throw a couple more your way.
All right. Sounds good.
See you, Doug.
Thank you, Doug.
Yeah.
Bye. Well, ladies and gentlemen,
What a guy.
I'm sorry.
That was again, race fans. I apologize for coming in late, right in the middle of the interview like that. I had something come up at work, but I'm glad I showed up for the last 15 minutes
Dude,
of that,
I am
because
too.
Doug Clark is one of the coolest guys you'll ever meet in your entire life, and that just proved it right there.
That does 100%er. Sorry for the dog.
Yeah, the dog's an idiot. We don't like the dog, but we just put up with
You
it.
don't. He's okay.
Yeah,
He's
I don't
okay.
like him.
Okay. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and end this.
We're gonna take a
We're
quick
gonna
10 or
take
15 minute break.
We're just gonna take a break.
And we're going to come back, and we got some highlights from last night at Southern Iowa Speedway.
Some other stuff to talk about,
We're
too.
going to talk about the Caleb Hamill Memorial,
Yep.
and then obviously we're less than a week away, road trip to Eldora.
Yes, we are. So, alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this has wrapped it up for your great interview with one of the greatest flagmen ever, Doug Clark.
Amen.
We'll be back soon.